Good morning, everyone. Thank you. John Murillo, Chief Dealing Officer. Beats Broker is our company. It is a technology and liquidity provider. I've been in the business close to 23 years now. May sound like an eternity, but it is a dynamic industry, which is fascinating. Therefore, we built solutions over the years. We will be describing more about our business later on throughout the presentation. I'm being joined by our Global Head of Business Development, Andrew Matushkin. Today, the topic for discussion will be some of the fundamental components into how to scale your margin business. It's an area of expertise of ours. It's a sector in which we've been specializing over the years. And personally, on a career level, I've been involved for close to 2 decades. I pass the word to you. Please tell us.
Hello, welcome. Happy to be here today. Thank you for having me here today. As John mentioned, today we would like to emphasize or somehow enlighten a very interesting topic. What are finally the key fundamental components, I would say, for every single margin business worldwide, regardless of the stage of the business, regardless of the site. These components should be followed, that should be taken into consideration unconditionally. And to begin with, let me provide you with some of the overview in the most simplistic way. First of all, the charting with the main operational components that should be taken into consideration while opening or running the business operations. Of course, as an up and running business, you should do really care about the sales, marketing, legal part, some of the daily operations such as maybe support or very compliance, right? Finance, and of course, technology. And technology, in this case, I would say one of the key components that we are going to be emphasizing and clarifying. But the best example to take a look at is the scheme on the right side of the screen, where you will be able to find the actual business flow of the margin business based on the simple example, one of the broker turnkey solution or just a simple turnkey solution with all of our cutting edge technologies included, along with the liquidity, of course. And speaking about liquidity, I would like to pass the word to John. John, so what can you tell us about the margin liquidity?
So, liquidity is the key component of any operation. When it comes down to counterparty risk, a lot of people focus in new relationships on just the KYC procedure from a legal compliance standpoint. However, there's a lot more to the story. When you deal with an LP who is to some degree one of the most important members of your entire organization, I mean this in the essence of that liquidity offer he provides you will dictate to some degree the type of packages you will project or provide, I should say, to your end user. Now, the type of liquidity you obtain varies from one provider to the next. Greatly, I consider mainly due to experience. A lot of people on this particular floor, for example, provide more or less the same service, but it really comes down to critical situations where your provider has the ability, has the expertise, has the, I call it the know-how, how to cope with unfortunate situations that we all face. I mean, let's just bring a very simple example. Hosting, something that is mostly out of our control. What does your provider do from a redundancy standpoint? I know some of us here, I know them for many years. You understand the technicalities behind. It's something that a company needs to invest tremendously. Having a partner in the liquidity space is not just to provide quotation. It's about the stability of that business, the track record they have. I always focus a lot on the uptime of that partner. What track record do they have? Are they new to the industry? Have they been in the industry for a long period of time? And if so, who do they utilize as a service provider, as a vendor? In our case, Beats Broker uses some of the best technology within the space. We do not look at just cost. We look at a sustainable operation over the years. We consider having the best provides a greater probability of success within that business, which means it translates into stability for your business. A downtime sometimes for broker dealers is catastrophic. Of course, there's no such thing as perfection, but a lot of us strive to do our utmost best through planning, through proper thinking, and I call this the respect we owe to our partners, to do the best we can within the means that are realistic. So when you do it, for example, when you're seeking for that relationship, a lot of people just focus on where are you based? Where are your licenses? It goes far beyond that. And there's one thing I've learned over my close 23 years in this business. Everyone has more or less a similar product, but not everyone has the same approach. And the business model of that entity that you're facing tells you a lot of the counterparty you're facing. If you're dealing with an agency model like ours, there's no conflict of interest. We focus purely on B2B. We're not a B2C operation whatsoever. We do not onboard retail clients. We were not built for that business. We provide you with all the tools you need to cater to that industry as such. So there's no conflict of interest. I don't offer you an institutional package, yet we are competing for retail flow. I think this is a very important element. Every liquidity provider, therefore, that liquidity that you obtain for your vendor is crucial to your business, to the success of your business. And I can't stress enough the importance of experience. We have a team of, now the company has reached over 369 employees, but probably 40% of our staff is purely maintaining liquidity and all other type of setups that we produce. We're very well established, and therefore we have an approach, especially on my end. I always like to discuss liquidity needs with each of one of my customers, because what you have seen, and Andrew has been with us for many years, when you start an operation, day one, you're focusing on creating a brand awareness, you're focusing on acquiring new business. As you start growing, as you utilize copy trading solutions, mom, pom, or whatnot, your business essentially starts to grow. And one of the questions I always ask my partners is, what are your expectations? Is that liquidity service you have in place capable to serve your business when you grow? Because everyone in this industry is seeking for soft flow. And I understand, the reasoning behind, but the industry is far beyond that. Does that liquidity provider have the ability to cater to your needs when you need him, when you start growing? Because the maturity of the business is what ultimately has a long-term value to our relationships and to any of you. So we've been through many experiences throughout our career, through our life cycle of the business. I can't stress enough, when you select that liquidity provider, there's a lot more to the story. It's like, pilots, they have a checklist before we take off. The same can be said for liquidity services. You've got to assess your LP. You need to wait it out. Is it a prime relationship? Is it an aggregate? What type of aggregator are they utilizing? Are you using some of the best tech here? Are they just utilizing new or young technology, which means, fairly young operations? A lot of trial and error goes into that, and you are ultimately, to some degree, you're being, I won't say punished, but there's some unfortunate circumstances that you can't avoid, because these are still young businesses. I give a lot of emphasis because the success of the business is what you're ultimately seeking for. Everyone strives for growing your operations. Everyone looks for the same. but it is very important to do that due diligence. And I repeat, it's not just a legal compliance procedure. So this is my take on the liquidity component.
I see. Thanks a lot. And by the way, you mentioned the scalability capabilities of the technology itself, of the liquidity itself, but it's not only limited to liquidity. If we're speaking about growing volume, if we're speaking about getting more clients, more client base, more deposits, so on and so forth, there should be systems that are capable to handle that are capable to process more and to adjust and adapt to the upcoming volumes of your end clients, to the upcoming integrations, to the new requirements, requests from them of integrating different platforms, adding different assets to trading, let's say. And that is why, not only from the liquidity perspective, but from the technology aspect as well, we're following the idea we never stop developing. And each of our solution, which are of course tailor-made, we're running the following scheme. So every second week, there is a deploy, implementation of the new features developed. Within these 2 weeks, the team usually works on, rarely, hopefully they will reduce it to the minimum, but of course some bugs still happens and we're fixing them, but mainly on adding new functionality, new integration of the KYT platforms, KYC, payment systems, trading platforms, multiple features inside for the security reason, for the hedging reason, if we're taking Marksman Hub, so on and so forth. So scaling the business is ongoing and unstopping development. This is one of the key components as well. But allow me to provide you with a small overview of the technology aspect of Bit2Broker that Bit2Broker may offer to you. In addition to the margin liquidity, we have multiple of SaaS solutions. These SaaS solutions, of course, as I mentioned, they are purely scalable, regardless of the number of clients you are going to have, 10,000, 100,000, or even a million. B2Core with a backup and an infrastructure in place and the architecture as it is will be capable to maintain the accessibility of like uptime of 99.9% of the old time. Speaking about B2Core, B2Core is not simply just a CRM system. B2Core includes everything in place. Admin panel for the manager of the project, client's interface, multiple of integrations, more than 100 integration of the different PSP. It means it's like plug and play. You simply get the API credentials from the provider and plug it into the B2Core. No need for additional resources, no need for IT infrastructure to be held on your side. We will cover that internally, and we're covering that for hundreds of clients nowadays. Of course, speaking about the CRM or speaking about any technology at this moment of time, today we can say we can get along without accessibility and the user-friendly. That is why for the B2Core solution, mobile applications, we spend, lots of time and resources to make them as friendly as possible. So now B2Core offers iOS and Android application in place. It means that this solution would be customized according to your brand, along with an application that can be downloaded by your end customers in the App Store and the Google Play. Saying nothing about all of the modules.
Sorry, I wanted to interrupt you. Andrew is bringing up a key component from a tech side, and I would like to elaborate on one thing. When you're running businesses, one of the things that you're always going to look at is your overhead, your cost of operation. How do you maintain profitability without sacrificing quality? You ultimately need that engagement with the end user. You need to control your cost. So the more powerful a CRM or trader's room or cabinet, I hear different terms in the industry, but it's all the same. The more powerful that CRM is, the less overhead, the more automation, less human error. I am a firm believer on automation. As much as you can automate in any business, the more scalable you become. You're a lot more flexible, and that's what our CRM gives you as a tool to scale your business without the need to run a high overhead. That's, for those of you who own businesses, you will understand. Sorry, I just need to...
Speaking about automation, yes, it's absolutely correct. And John, thank you for raising this topic. All of our products that we're offering, they're ecosystem based. It means that you can combine. Let me give you an example. You have an up and running brokerage solution with MT4, MT5, or you're taking white label of the C-Trader or Match Prime platform with us, or as an example, you may be even the crypto spot exchange. In any given moment of time when you realize, okay, I will need to expand, I will need to catch more audience, I will need to be, or try to attract more customers, new users from new regions, no problem. You're adding the component on top of the existing setup without any additional. Of course, there would be some small short integration, but all of the solution they are made. I mean, they're fully ready. There is no need for additional time on the development to be spent. Simple as it go. Like you connect and that's it, and it's operational. To continue the story, I just mentioned the crypto spot exchange, right? For the crypto spot exchange, we're using BitoTrader, which is matching engine tailor-made, high performance system running on AWS server infrastructure. Coming with that, the Marksman Hub, Liquidity Hub solution for the spot exchange, constantly being built. And for the past couple of years, we've been building that. And now I would say Marksman Hub is holding top positions in the spot liquidity aggregation due to the variety of functionality. As John mentioned earlier before, the money management for bringing new customers, for bringing new volumes, BitoCopy, including social trading, PAM, MAM, some of the combination of that solution as well.
Now, you mentioned PAM, MAM,
yeah, and copy
trading. I think everyone can agree here. A great tool to attract new business. A great tool to increase that volume that we are all seeking. Fantastic, powerful. A lot of people nowadays are very much aware of this software and the need to power that business. We take great deal of pride on that. Andrew, you've been working with this for quite some years already.
And honestly, it was a great experience, frankly speaking. The next core thing, the core for every single margin business, well, basically for every single business worldwide, even I wouldn't even specify whether it's margin or trading related, is the payments. The payment should be accessible for every single customer worldwide, and you as the business should be ready to accept as many methods of funding or as many methods of payments for your service or product or technology that you are offering and you are distributing by any means. And here I would like to emphasize a bit more on the B2B and Pay. B2B and Pay is the digital asset processing. We have two business model, merchant, well, all of the incoming deposits for more than 60 plus currencies are getting converted into single currency. It may be either stable coin, Bitcoin, or even fiat. That is possible as well. Enterprise solution, purely made as the blockchain wallet infrastructure, and purely made for crypto or digital asset related businesses. B2B and Pay is Estonian regulated, and we're constantly working on updating more regulation worldwide to be capable to serve clients worldwide as well. But yeah, B2B and Pay in nowadays and crypto payments is the must have and the must point for every single business, not only trading related, because this is the next future to my mind. I strongly believe in that. Speaking about the technology, adding something on top, as I mentioned, there is a variety of platforms that can be taken. There are a variety of the solution that can be combined or added on top of each other. This is the core part, and this is the core thing. The more options you are going to give and the more options you are going to provide in regards of the trading platform, in regards of the payments, in regards of the type of the accounts, solutions, directly correlate with the potential client base that you are going to have. Of course, you should not forget the fact that there should be a proper marketing campaign, proper business development, a proper sales, if we may say so. But anyway, the variety of options gives you flexibility, and you will be able to, first of all, to reach new targets, to scale this business as much as you can, and of course, to be capable world expansion. Yeah, we may say so. Why not?
And to wrap this up in a very simplistic way, when you're looking for that relationship, you're seeking to establish a new business partner. I always say to myself, and I will say this to anyone here, look at the business you're about to do business with. It is extremely important you focus and you take into account operations that have different streams of revenue, so they're not dependent on a particular service only, because that can be challenging at some point. Over the years, we build an ecosystem. We build solutions that bring stability to our operation. We are diversified through multiple products. We don't have a dependency on just the liquidity service or just on the technology side. I think this is really important to be able to scale the business. You need that partner that you truly can count on, that it doesn't need to, make the most out of you just because they only provide one particular service. This is my take on today's topic, at least. If anybody has any questions or additional input, Andrew, feel free.
One thing to finalize. All of these projects, yes, we're running an ecosystem logic and ecosystem structure, so all of them can be combined. Moreover, they can be taken as a standalone products as well. And even with existing businesses, the products that we are offering may be taking from us, and this will give you an opportunity to grow, an opportunity to scale this business. Unfortunately, as I see on the timer, we're a bit running out of time, but we would be more than delighted to answer all of your potential questions. Just in front of the entrance and on the right, there is a B2B Pay, B2 Broker booth. All of our experts, John himself, myself. So yeah, if any questions, please feel free. Thank you very much.
I would like to thank each and one of you for listening to us. It's been a pleasure, and I hope you get to enjoy the wonderful weather of Dubai at this time of the year. Thank you.